Welcome to Power Women of the Trades podcast. This show is all about breaking barriers and changing the game. Our guests will feature some of today's most successful female entrepreneurs and other advocates of our industry as well. Because if there's one thing we know for sure, female-led entrepreneurship drives change on multiple levels. We want to empower women in the trade industry like you so you can maximize your potential, stay balanced, achieve long-term success, and claim ownership over your life. Let's get started.
Tell us about LadyTitans, because we had
for
Stacey,
those who may not know.
Yes, and we had Stacey for a couple weeks ago on tell us how LadyTitans started.
And
because it was a group of ladies.
So you're familiar with the Facebook group called ServiceTitan Masterminds.
Mm-hmm.
For those of the listeners that aren't on ServiceTitan or are but haven't heard of it, this is just a Facebook group where ServiceTitan customers can join and bounce ideas off each other. It, at least when I joined, was a very open place where you could post questions about how do I set this up? What button do I click if I'm looking to achieve that? And you start to see the same people participating, right? The same people asking questions, the same people commenting. Mm-hmm. And people identify themselves as subject matter experts, whether they are ServiceTitan employees or not. And at the time, there actually weren't ServiceTitan employees really in that group at all. It was mostly customers. And so through networking, asking questions as I was onboarding with ServiceTitan for the second time, which is a story for another day, I was asking questions and either Stacey would chime in or Jess Smith would chime in. And it got to the point that I'm like, why am I publicly posting when it ends up just being me, Jess, and Stacey figuring out these problems? Why don't we just reach out to each other privately and we'll jump on a call or we'll text each other or whatever, instead of post it for only the three of us to interact with each other. Mm-hmm. So we started FaceTiming each other, and it turned into not to get too cheesy, but like kind of girl power, help me figure this out. You've done it longer than me, so I want the cheat code. And then that grew into a now infamous Facebook post. It was, I think, August of 2020. So we were 5 months into COVID, and we were just gaining so much ground with each other, helping each other out, that I posted on Facebook and I tagged Vahey, one of the founders of ServiceTitan, and I said, hey, it'd be really cool if you could just sponsor Stacey, who lives in Oklahoma, to come up to Massachusetts where Jess and I are, and we can just have like a girl power powwow, figure out how to run our businesses using your software situation. Totally not expecting anything to come of it. And he replied right away. And he was like, actually, that sounds really cool. As long as you keep it positive, as long as it's customer led, and as long as you're focusing on maximizing the software. This was the time of like the Titan score before it was Titan Advisor, and people were really competitive over it, and there was the leaderboard of it, so it was trendy, and it was like, yep, do it. It escalated so fast. Over the last 3 years, we have had the insane honor and pleasure and completely surprising growth that we grew it to the point that it was 1,800 people signed up. We have 2 monthly meetings. We have a Facebook group that is, I find it to be a lot more solutions focused and positive and empowering than some of the other trades groups.
Agree.
You guys don't have to lie to me, but I feel like you might agree with that just based on the perspectives of some of the other groups. Yeah. But it's great. And we have connected with so many people who feel like they know each other on a personal level, but have never met in person. And that's really the biggest thing. There's so many resources to tap into. There's so many brilliant people in this industry, and we're just trying to connect women with other women.
I think that's a beautiful thing about social media, right? That's the beautiful thing about social media is I have so many really good friends that I've never met in real life. And it's crazy that I've made these connections and I've never met them. Mm-hmm. Like honestly, remember last year we were at the Women of HVAC conference and we were at the banquet and I'm sitting right next to her.
And we're sitting next to each other and we both turned and we were like, oh,
hey. Like had no clue.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh. But it's like, but whenever you do sign up for that conference and you go to it by yourself, now you're not so nervous because you have this connection of friends that are going to be there. It makes me like immediately think about Jess Smith. Like she travels by herself most of the time to some of these conferences, but I love watching her because she like has this like core group. And also, by the way, I still like, she's my ride or die when it comes to ServiceTitan. If I break something, real. I'm like, hey girl, sliding into her DMs. Like, hey, and I love her though. I was so proud of her. I got to give her a shout out because one time she said, hey, I can't answer this right now because I'm really busy and I'm trying to learn no. And I was like, okay. Like,
one time she said that to me because she was making lasagna. And then I wanted to ask her about what kind of lasagna. And I was like, good boundaries,
I know,
Jess.
she's setting boundaries because
both have to know how hard that was for her because she is a self-proclaimed Class A people pleaser and does not like to say
and
no
she
to
wants
people.
to, but she's so freaking smart with ServiceTitan that she is like the go-to for people. But I was so proud of her because she was setting those boundaries. But I love that. I love watching her when she travels to those. Leslie always says I travel with a posse, which I do. Every event I go to, I have like at least 4 people with me because I don't like being by myself.
She has an entourage.
An entourage. Like, but when I watch Jess, I love that because she literally just walks in, but she has like the best connections nationwide that were created from Facebook groups.
Yeah,
and social media.
She's just not afraid to say, hi, my name's Jess. What do you do? This is what I do.
That's amazing.
You know? And a lot of these connections, 2 huge things stick out in my head that are the result of LadyTitans. So there's a group of us that were involved from the very beginning who, I want to say there were maybe 6 of us who met for the first time at one of their weddings.
Oh
so
my gosh,
talk about
awesome.
how crazy it is to be able to create such a connection with someone virtually in a work environment, no less, and feel so connected to them and that they're such an important part of your life that you want them at your wedding, but you've never met them.
That's amazing.
Well, and it reminds me of like my baby group when I was pregnant. So I had a baby. I was in a lot of people in our generation were in baby groups, right? And I had a baby group and we were all due September 2015. But we started that group when we first started were first pregnant. And so I have been friends. My daughter just turned 8. I have a friend in Minnesota that we've now met in person several times, but like I talk to her on a regular basis. We've been friends for, she's 8, my daughter's 8. Our daughters are 9 days apart from each other. But then counting our pregnancy, we've been friends for 8.5, almost 9 years now. And for like the first couple years of that, we had never even met, but like, that's my girl, and it's crazy. Sure. It's just crazy. Well, and you were just talking about Jen,
I know.
Who's like she does something.
She's been my social media strategist for 3 or 4 years. And she's coming to an event. We're doing an on-site, podcast in a couple weeks, and Jen is going to drive up because she's in San Antonio and it's in Dallas, and she messaged me, oh my gosh, we're going to get to meet in person. And I'm like, we've never met in person.
And like
I
Leslie,
talk to you all the time.
Weird, doesn't it?
And Leslie's her biggest fan.
Yeah,
it's funny. Well, and then Leslie for a while. Now we see each other all the time, but for a while we had been friends for like over a year, and the only time we met was at events outside of Oklahoma, and we're an hour and a half away from each other.
Yeah, that's me and Jess. We met for the first time. We live 90 minutes from each other.
Okay, I was about to ask. I don't think I knew y'all were in the same state. How funny!
It's unacceptable how close we live and how long it took for us to be together in real life. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure it happened for the first time at Women in HVAC
last year
across the country.
Yeah,
and
that's so funny.
There's zero reason for it.
That's so funny.
The other thing that was really crazy was because we are connected by ServiceTitan and we all have a familiarity with the software. One of the other members had a parent die in a tragic accident. And we were able to rally around this person. They got us logins to their tenant, and we ran their business for them so that they could handle
amazing.
it. It was the owner of their company that died, and the The child worked there, and it was just incredible to feel that trusted to log into someone else's account, answer someone else's phone, book someone else's calls, manage someone else's team virtually. And it wouldn't have happened if we hadn't been able to connect to each other in a place that felt safe enough to do it and open enough to be vulnerable in that way. I mean, imagine opening your books, your ServiceTitan to someone who knows enough to know what to go looking
well,
for.
and like, let's make a disclaimer there real quick for anyone. Don't read too far into that. ServiceTitan just like didn't just give some random person access. Like there was if you don't know that story, which gave me goosebumps because it was tragic when that happened, but you guys had a very tight relationship with the son and him, and there was trust
and
there.
And he was the one that gave us the access, to be clear. ServiceTitan didn't give anyone access to anything.
I didn't want anyone.
Disclaimer.
Oh shoot, no. But still, he trusted you, and you had never met him, and But he knew you knew what to do. He knew you knew how to take care of customers, and he knew that you could serve him in that time. And you guys met on the internet. And I just think that's amazing. I think that LadyTitans is still such an amazing group that if you're not, and what's amazing about it too is you don't really have to be a member. You don't have to use ServiceTitan, jump in and
you don't have to use ServiceTitan. You don't have to work for ServiceTitan. It was founded by customers, not ServiceTitan employees. ServiceTitan was incredibly generous in their support of it. They gave us the platform and the access to a brilliant network of people for us to be able to tap into. And they also gave us budget, which never hurts, right? We have swag, we have meetings that, Zoom costs money, and they were so supportive. We would not have been able to get to the point that we are at without the resources they gave us. Their own internal staff. This is something that was not part of anyone's performance review, anyone's job description, but they dedicated so much time to helping grow the group because they saw the value in what it was and the unique content that we try to give people and the safe space we try to give people that I really haven't found anywhere else.
What I love about LadyTitans, so I was the founding, a similar story, different software, different group that I founded a group or at a previous time in my life. And that group is still active and it's still a trades group and it was still previous time. But what I love about LadyTitans that was different is, like you said, there was a budget, there was emphasis from ServiceTitan that was put behind it. There was stuff that was like, that maybe that group might still have now. I'm not really sure. I'm not such an active member of it. But there were like the coffee cups and the T-shirts and the swag that you can get. And you felt like you were a part of something that I remember, like when the T-shirts came out, I bought my whole office staff one just because I wanted them to be excited about it, but it's more than now. If I have an issue, it always cracks me up when someone's like, I can't get support to help me. I'm like, bro, I don't call support. Like, I call the LadyTitans and I ask for help. Like, and it's like, well, we shouldn't have to rely on each other.
I guess
Why not?
I haven't been posting in LadyTitans with questions. Is that where I need to post my questions about the software?
Yes, I am.
Yes. And someone said, well, we shouldn't have to rely on users. Why the heck not? We're using it every day. We find the quirks. We find the things.
Well, so that's actually what started it, right? Is that I'd be like, support told me to set a membership up like this, but it's not doing what I thought it was. So there must be something I'm missing. And Stacy would be like, well, I had that same problem. And I actually figured out this little workaround that isn't like the published way to do it, but it really works until they develop it. Here's what you need to do. So like I said, it's the cheat code. It's how do you get it to do what you need it to do? Because we're all running the same business, but we're all running completely different businesses somehow, And
then on top of that, like some things, and this frustrates people, but this is still accurate because we're all running different businesses. There are 5 different ways to do one thing sometimes. And sometimes my way is the long way and your way is the better way. And I can't learn your way unless someone talks about it,
Or unless you take a year to figure out all the wrong ways before you land on the right way.
Well, and you each have reasons for doing it the way you want to do it that others may not be privy to.
Or you know how to do something and then you have like a stupid moment. Like I messaged Jess one time and was like, hey, I need to pull this report I was trying to pull it for Kaylee, and she was like going through all this stuff and she was like, but if you have Marketing Pro, it's in there. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh, duh. Yeah.
And I have Marketing Pro, and I'm literally like, I've wasted like at least 3 hours of my life on this today. And it was in there the entire time.
What I find so great, though, is that I feel like the Lady Titans group is the place where you can have the acknowledgement of like, I know I'm missing something. Yeah. I'm a smart person, but for some reason, I'm about to ask this question. And a lot of the feedback that we get from members is that they feel like they can post the question without feeling the judgment of, I can't believe this person in the position that she has is asking this question. How can she not know that?
Mm-hmm. I can't believe I didn't know this about the Lady Titans.
Well, and but also, side note, Lady Titans is even more than that. Like,
right, it's more just, for me, it's always been like mindset, inspiration stuff.
There's a book club, there's meetings, there's that. But then there's also this, because we're all using it on a regular basis. And so it's one of my favorite groups. I'm not as active in there as I would like to be, or I used to be maybe even. But there's a ton of times that I use it as like Google. If I need something, I'll go into Lady Titans, go into the search bar, and I'm like Googling to find, because I will find someone else's answer or question that they've already asked that question to. And that's already stacked in there from somewhere. Or and then sometimes like I needed like an org chart, or I needed this or that or whatever. And I was able to just like search in the group for an answer that was already there. And I didn't have to post it and wait. And so there's just so much value in there. And if you're not a member of the Lady Titans group, or you want to be a member of the Lady Titans group, we'll make sure that Rita, our producer, adds how to get connected in our show notes.
Probably can just add a link to the group, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's just ladytitans.org, and right on the homepage there's a join now button. It's a quick Google form just to fill out. Once you're on that, you can request to join the Facebook group, and you'll be in right away. We try to make it very easy and accessible and inclusive. And like the biggest thing I want to just make sure people know is that it is a customer-led group, open to all positions in a company, CSR all the way up to owner. I don't even work at a contract business anymore, so distributors or anything, and you don't have to use ServiceTitan either. There are plenty of business topics that aren't software specific. Like, I'm big enough now that I need to hire an accountant for the first time, but I don't know what to put in the job post, or I don't know what to put in the job description, or how do you guys structure memberships? Is it based on the house or based on a piece of equipment? Do you charge monthly or do you charge annual? All of those kind of discovery questions and ways to shake up a business. That's what we really get into.
So I know there was a little bit of a shift and change, and I think I got confused because we were refilling out the Google form, and then it was like to be added to the new group.
Do I need to fill out a Google form now? I'm already in the group.
Is there going to be a whole new group?
So if you haven't filled out a Google form in the last 2 weeks, you need to refill out the one that's linked on our website.
Okay.
So as I mentioned before, ServiceTitan really put so much oomph behind us. In the very beginning, the sign up form, which would get you the links to the Zoom meetings and things like that, was we give Lady Titans permission to house our data and send us emails. Well, as ServiceTitan was supporting us, and their commitment to their own customers, going back to your disclaimer earlier, is to protect data, there became a little bit of a block in the road of having non-ServiceTitan employees participate as fully as maybe they would have liked. So there were a lot of just, red tape stuff that all exist for very valid reasons. ServiceTitan made the decision to, quote unquote, give it back to the members. ServiceTitan employees are still more than welcome and encouraged to join, but it's not a ServiceTitan run group.
So refilling,
and really it's just to make sure people are included.
Basically, so refilling out that form is giving you access to email us and send us that stuff. But will we still physically stay in the group that we're in now, or will there be a new Facebook group?
So there's going to be new Zoom links because we're having our own Zoom account. We officially filed for our LLC status. We're going to, we're an official business now, which is incredible. We're going to be filing for nonprofit status, which hopefully will help generate some more sponsorships. But yes, so ServiceTitan can't give us the old list of people because it's their data and they make a commitment to all of their customers to not share it. So in order for us to be able to email everyone and say, hey, we're going to be at this event, or hey, check out, here's the Zoom meeting for the October meeting, anything like that, we just have to refresh. The other thing we found out is a lot of people had left their jobs and had new email addresses and weren't getting communications from us anymore. So it's like a data refresh and a handing back.
Yeah, but we'll still all stay in the actual Facebook group that you now have ownership
Facebook group,
of.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Which I love. I'm excited. I think that's great. I think that's how it should be. And I think that so many things I think apparently, but if you're not an active member of LadyTitans or you've never heard of it, please get into that LadyTitans.org, fill out that form and get connected. Even if you're just a silent lurker for a little bit, see what it is, because you're going to find so much value. So much value.
Well, totally.
Lauren, we want to be respectful of your time, and we're super, super thankful that you jumped on with us to hang out with us today.
Fun.
There's so much insightful content in here, and you are a great asset to the trade community and the LadyTitan community, and the empowerment of women growing in our trade. So we're thankful to have you on our side.
Thank you so much.
Well, I'm happy to be here.
This has been Power Women of the Trades. Like what you hear so far? Leave us a review on Apple, and make sure to listen to our other episodes wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.